Going to take a little trip down memory lane. I did a video in November of 2022 and it had a couple 100,000 views, a lot of nasty comments, and it was just I was talking about the real estate market, what it looks like, what my predictions were, what's going to happen. And I just kind of want to break this video down a couple years later to see where we sit today and, you know, if I was right or wrong. So let's start watching.
How to get started in real estate.
I want to make sure we all know that this is not 2006, 7, 8, 9. Not the same market. Back then, the housing market is what caused the recession. That's not the cause of the recession today, which is one thing that you got to keep in mind. Our inventory is too low.
Okay, so right off the bat, what's crazy is I said what caused the recession today. That was 2022. We all felt like we were in a recession back then, and they also changed the definition of recession at that point. And we're 2 years later.
We had way more homes for sale back then. Today, we don't have enough.
We
Even
still
right
don't.
now, we don't have enough. There's a ton of pent-up demand.
We are up from that time. We had about 2,000 homes on the market. Today, we have 3,500. That's in our general market, but we should be carrying 5,000, 6,000 homes without any problem.
And again, if those interest rates drop next year, it's going to be bananas. So I want to make sure you understand that.
So I said interest rates drop next year, which would have been 23. They had predicted they're going to get these rate cuts, and they never came. Now they're predicting them again. Now we're fairly certain they are going to come. I mean, this time is probably going to happen. Remember, we've been in this little slump for over 2 years. They normally only last 18 months. So we're going to see something happen probably right after the election, maybe just before, like hopefully next week.
What we're going through right now is a slow delay.
Very slow.
I think a
we're
lot
still
of the
in
home
mode.
buyers and sellers out there are sitting on the fence, not knowing what to do because they don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. And
That fence is getting really heavy. It's starting to bow a little bit. There's still a ton of buyers sitting on it.
I don't blame any of them. It is a good time to buy a house, but I'm also a real estate agent, so you probably think, oh, sure, he's going to say that. But the truth is, it is. Like, you can buy a home today. We are still looking at 4 or 5 for a 10-year ARM, somewhere around 6 or 7% for a 30-year fixed. If rates do drop, all you have to do is refinance your home.
Okay, so rates actually went up a little bit. So if you would have bought at a better rate than you could buy today. But me, am not wrong. If you can afford that payment at the current rate, it was a good time to buy a home. As a matter of fact, I pulled up a couple listings and I looked at one that was sold at this time, sold for $385,000, and today a very similar home just sold for $430,000. So from 22, all those haters, as a matter of fact, right here, the very first comment says, market will continue to shift. It's not a good time to buy. Wait 6 months to a year, been selling for 30 years, just wait. Okay, if they would have waited, that's $50,000 of equity that they could have missed out on a $385,000 home. So, like they always say, it's always a good time to buy real estate. It sounds so cliche, but it is.
And there are more homes available today. We are seeing some price reductions in the market, without a doubt. They're not selling as fast, so we see some price reductions, which means we're bringing those down to that more manageable number, not necessarily going for the moon.
All right, so when I said manageable, I think that's today too. Sellers are still overpricing their home. Homes have still grown in value, as I just mentioned, so today they're still overpricing their homes, so we are seeing price reductions. But that's because they're not pricing it properly today. If they price it properly, we are still seeing multiple offers, even today.
Just getting that manageable number and it's working out. They might be pricing them high to begin with and not getting it. So we are still seeing values holding strong. That's values, right? Not list price. I'm talking about the value of the home. They are staying.
And that's a very important point I made right there, because people see price reductions and say, oh, they're losing value. Well, if I have a home that's value is at $300,000 and I price it at $400,000 and drop it $100,000, I'm not losing $100,000 of value. I'm losing $100,000 of, I thought my house was better than it was.
Strong. I want to make sure we all know that this is not 2006, 7, 8.
So that's the rest of that video. So basically, my prediction was wrong, but right. So I was wrong on how long we would stay in that spot, but everything I said there matches up perfectly. Like, as far as it was a good time to buy a home, homes still appreciated, rates actually went up. So if you took advantage of that 5.5%, 6% rate that was so terrible in 22, you would be sitting in a lot better position than people buying today. So if you would have waited, the house would have cost more and the monthly payment would have been more. So will this continue to move that direction as we go? Like, is today the worst time in the world to buy a home? Probably not. It's the same scenario. You could refi your house if rates drop, which we anticipate them dropping. And today, if you were to get into the market, there's a lot more homes available. They're not selling as fast. We are still short on supply, but we're really short on buyer demand. So if you step into this market, you could potentially get a little bit of a deal on a house, and you actually could get the house that you want rather than one you're kind of forced into buying because there's just nothing else out there. And the rates, they have gotten a little bit better. They're 6.5. If they drop to 5.5, you can refi. You're going to end up in a great spot. But if you can afford that house today at 6.5 and they don't drop, you still win. You're getting a house that's going to appreciate. I see this market turning very, very soon, hopefully before the election, but I'm very certain it's going to turn after the election. So I guess we'll just wait and see, but I feel pretty good about that video I did back then because I took a lot of hate for it, and it turns out I was somewhat right.